Hey, what's up everybody? This is the Amazfit Stratos. I've been using this watch over the last week, and today I'm ready to share with you my full review. Alright, so before we get too far into this video, let me just mention that if you are interested in winning your own Amazfit Stratos, check out the link below because I'm going to be giving away an Amazfit Stratos as well as two brand new Amazfit Bips on this channel. So again, check out that link below. Also, let me mention that if you pick up the Amazfit Stratos or any other Amazfit watch that I've ever reviewed on this channel, which I've reviewed a lot, including the Amazfit Pace, which is still a very good watch, the Amazfit Bip, the Amazfit Core, any of the Amazfit watches, you can actually pick up for 20% off. So use the coupon code SMARTPHONEGUY on the Amazfit website, which I'll link down below as well. For 20% off, that brings the Amazfit Stratos down to $160, the Amazfit Pace down to $112, the Amazfit Bip, which I've previously reviewed, down to $80. So really good deals on each of those smartwatches. And I'll also be doing some reviews where I compare some of these smartwatches as well as some other companies like Fitbit. So I have a Fitbit Versa, also the TicWatch S. So I'll be doing that in the near future. So now let's go ahead and talk about the Amazfit Stratos. So first thing I want to do is I want to highlight some of the things that they mention here on the box. So we have multi-sport tracking. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. We have heart rate sensor, of course, which is really good. Does a fantastic job. We have GPS, and the GPS is also very, very accurate. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the GPS does allow you to take the watch without your phone to get your distance tracking, whether you be running, swimming, or biking, whatever you might be doing. We have VO2 max. It will measure your VO2 max. We have a 5 atmosphere water resistance, so basically you can go 124 feet underwater, and I will say that I have used this in salt water and it did just fine. We have onboard music, so 4 gigs of onboard storage for music, and it says up to 5 days of battery life, but I'll go ahead and talk more about that in just a little bit. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the build quality of the Amazfit Stratos. And for that, I want to highlight, first of all, this trans-reflective display. So we have a 1.34-inch trans-reflective display. And what that means is the brighter the light is outside, the easier this display is to see, no matter what angle you're looking at it at. Now, is it the best pixel density? No, it's not. This is a 320 by 300 pixel density. But what the real highlight is the fact that no matter what kind of lighting you're looking at, you will always be able to see this display, and that is a huge thumbs up to Amazfit for continuing to use that display. Now, in terms of the rest of the build quality, we have a ceramic bezel here, so that's up on the top. That's the same ceramic bezel, not quite as big as what you get on the Amazfit Pace, so I like that they kind of shrunk that up a little bit. Now we have 3 buttons, 3 hardware buttons on the side. So this one is going to be used primarily as the back button. It does also wake up your screen, as you can see there. Now you can tell that there's hardly a difference between the screen woken up versus the screen off, so that's pretty awesome. This is our select button, and then this one down here is basically for going, these ones will go up and down as we're going through our menus here. Now as far as the back, we have our heart rate sensor. We have a few pins there on the back which will connect to our charger right here, so when we place it down, that's how we're going to charge it. And on the other end we have a USB, and we'll talk more about the charging in a little bit. So as far as the straps, come standard with silicone straps. Now you can easily replace these because they are quick release, same thing that you had on the Amazfit Pace. So you'll notice that a lot of things are very similar. And then I also really like this carbon fiber look that you get around the outside of the watch as well. So very, very cool. Overall, I give the build quality, for me personally, a 10 out of 10. Now, for somebody with a small wrist, you may not want to get something quite so big. However, if you're a runner, you're used to having big watches like this, so it really is no different than any other large GPS watch that you would wear. So for me personally, I like it. This is a 10 out of 10 for me when it comes to the build quality. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the accuracy of the Amazfit Stratos. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and head on over to my phone into the Amazfit Watch app. So we'll have to get it into focus there. Alright, so you can see right here that I went on a run a little bit earlier today. So 7.57 miles, 52 minutes, gives me my pace, my calories burned, and then notice that it has a map down here. Now one thing you'll notice is that I basically just went on a completely straight line route. That's because I went on an old rail trail. Now this rail trail is really nice because it actually has all of the miles marked out. And when I went on the run earlier today with this watch, it was literally dead on to the 100th of a mile with every single split, every single mile, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I will say that that's also the case with the Amazfit Pace. I never had an issue with this watch ever being inaccurate when it came to the GPS. Also true with the Amazfit Stratos. So there's nothing I would say necessarily better about this one because there really was nothing to improve on. The Amazfit Pace was very, very accurate, and so is the Amazfit Stratos. Now, when it comes to the heart rate, that is also dead on accurate for me. So you can see here the heart rate, notice that it never really slipped. So sometimes with watches, I'll get where it slips. And speed was definitely accurate. Pace is accurate. Now, the area that I did have an issue with is right here. All right, so notice that with altitude, let's see if I can get that into focus. There we go. So it makes it look like I climbed about 500 feet. So it said at lowest I was 302, maximum is 879. Now, that is one area where I will say it has been inaccurate, and that is because if you get it wet right here, you get these little sensors right here wet, I've noticed that the altitude will be thrown off. So the solution to that, if you care about it, I don't really care about altitude, I care more about pace and distance, is to basically just clean that out. You can use the same thing you would use for like your computer to clean out your keyboard, same kind of stuff in order to clean it out, and you should be just fine when it comes to altitude. I've done it once just to see if it worked, and it did really well. But yeah, so the altitude is one thing that I have found has been just a little bit off, but in terms of heart rate, distance, speed, things like that, in terms of my sleep, that has also been dead on accurate. So it does also measure your sleep and gives you a sleep analysis, and that has been very good as well. So you can see last night I actually slept a lot, which is really rare for me. But yeah, so sleep has also been dead on accurate as well. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the software both on the watch and on the phone that you connect it to. So we'll start out with the watch itself. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the screen on. Even though it looks like it's on, it's technically not on. So now it's actually on. So if I swipe over to the left, there we go, we can get into our sports. So notice that run and walk are the top two. Now you can adjust those how they show up. But a couple things I want to mention here. So we have pool swim and open water swim. We have a bunch of indoor activities as well, like elliptical, cycling inside, climbing, trail running, triathlon. So I will mention that this is a fantastic watch for those of you that are thinking about doing triathlons, or maybe you already do them. Tennis, soccer, so a number of activities to track there. Swipe over to the left, you can see our activities, and one more time to get our daily overview. Now notice it says 0 steps for me at the moment, and that's because it is 12:32 a.m. and I've been filming this the whole time since then. Alright, so now if I scroll from the top, you can see I can get into some settings, some quick settings, including it'll show you if it's connected and the battery life. It'll also show you a couple of quick settings like do not disturb, airplane mode. You can adjust your brightness here, and then we can go into the full settings there. And we'll go ahead and pull up, and then here is our notifications. So let's see if I have any that are actually worth checking out here. So lots of Instagram notifications, so I obviously didn't turn that one off. So let's see here. Apparently, yeah, so this is just an email I got. So basically you can just see your notifications. There's not a whole lot you can do in terms of interacting with those. So if you're looking for a full-on smartwatch, this is definitely not one for you. It's basically just going to give you your notifications. Now if I swipe over to the right, you can see we can get weather. Now I didn't actually sync it up with my phone for weather because that's just not something I care about to have on my watch. But if you want it, you can sync it up with your phone for that. We have continuous heart rate here, and we do have the option to check it now. We have music, so if you want to sync up some music, basically it's just a drag and drop. Super simple, also really easy to connect Bluetooth, and that works very, very well. I've been using them with my AxGeo Dash true wireless earbuds. Fantastic combination for running both with GPS and with music without needing my phone. We can set up some alarms here. We have the compass. We have a stopwatch, which I was just doing a little bit earlier. We have sleep. Now notice it says no sleep detected because obviously it's a new day for me and I haven't slept yet. We have training center. Now I haven't set this up, but basically if you're training for a particular activity, particular distance, I guess, we have beginner, we have a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and marathon. Basically it's just going to set you up with some training plans for those activities. Swipe to the left to go back, and then we have our timer, and that's it. All right, so now back over to the main screen, and if I want to go into my settings again, I'm just going to swipe from the top, there we go, and go to the settings here, and you can see that we have connection options. So that's how we're going to connect it up to Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So I can actually use this to go down. So there's common, and again this is for select, so I can go into that, and then we can change our time format, our units, so that's for imperial or metric system. We have silence. We can change a silent time. We can select a particular time that automatically silences. So in other words, it's not going to vibrate in the middle of the night. We have our airplane mode and auto airplane again. And then we have a long press option. So you can adjust what you want long presses to do. So that's cool. And I'm going to go ahead and go back out of that. We have some uploads. We're not going to go into that one. I'm going to do a full review where I actually go through everything on the software. So that's kind of a quick look at the software anyways on the watch. I like the software on the watch. What I'm not a huge fan of necessarily is the app itself. So if I go into the app, it's pretty basic. So this is, sorry, it's kind of bright in my screen. There we go. All right, so this is what you see. Actually, let's go out of that. So this is the main screen. And what you see, first of all, is your heart rate, your sleep. We can go down here into sports, so it's going to show you all of your activities again. We can go into our profile, so I can take a look at my watch. So that's where you're going to go in here. So there's my Amazfit Pace, my Amazfit Stratos. So that's going to bring us back into the one I showed you at first. So we can select a number of dials. Now, I will mention that this is not even close to the number of dials you can get on this watch. So it shows 16 here, but there are far more. There's actually entire Facebook groups dedicated to watch faces for this watch. So there is absolutely no shortage of watch faces at all for this watch. We can change some app settings. So again, I didn't even set up the weather, but we can go into sports and we can adjust what it shows when we are working out. So you can see here, I can change that sport order. So run, walk, cycling, pool, swimming, and I can adjust even within those what it's going to show me when I'm actually running. So that's cool. And you can basically adjust it to whatever you want. So that's great. I love that feature. Then we can change the app widget order, so we can adjust which one it shows us. So I don't even need the weather on, so I can just turn that one off because, again, I don't even care about the weather on my watch. And then we have some more options as well. That's basically just for notification testing and then updating our watch. So pretty basic, but one thing I do really like is that it does sync up to Strava. So you can see here, there's that exact same night run that I did earlier tonight, and it syncs right up. So if you're a huge fan of Strava, this is how you're going to get, I believe, with this watch. If you're into kind of like social networking when it comes to working out, you can use Strava, and I really like it for that purpose. All right, so now it's time to talk about the battery life on this watch. So again, let me just mention here that they say on here up to 5 days of battery life. Now, is it possible to get 5 days of battery life with the Amazfit Stratos? The answer is yes. If you're kind of using it lightly, you're not really tracking too many activities, then yeah, you probably can get 5 days of battery life. However, if you're a power user and you're using it like crazy, getting notifications, keeping the watch face always on, which basically it kind of automatically is by default, then I will say that for me personally, I'm getting more like 2 days of battery life, and that's because I'm using it every single time I go for a run. I'm listening to music and using the GPS on here, and so if you're doing that, you're going to burn through a little bit of battery. So on that 8-mile run I went for a little bit earlier today, or close to 8 miles, it burned through 20% battery. So to kind of give you an idea, in a general day, you'll get through about 25% battery. So then when you add that workout in, about 50%, which is why I'm getting about 2 days of battery life. So if you can get 5 days, you're probably not going to be a power user, and that's probably possible, but for someone who's using it regularly to track workouts, you're probably going to get more like 2 days of battery life. Now, to pair that up with this charger, the charger is not a fast charger. Doesn't really matter what you connect it up to. It does take about an hour to charge this thing up fully, so it's not going to charge up super fast. It has a 300 milliamp hour battery inside of it, but that does give you a solid 2 days, and for that I give it a thumbs up. I would prefer 5 days, but I can live with 2 days on my smartwatch. All right, so now to the question of, do I recommend the Amazfit Stratos? And for me personally, that is a definite yes. The reason I say that is because if you are someone like me and you want to be able to track your runs using GPS without having to lug around your phone with you, and you want to be able to listen to music without that phone with you, then this is definitely a fantastic watch. And it's nice that it also offers some of those smartwatch features as well. Now, if you need a full-blown smartwatch, then I would say this is probably not the watch for you. You'd probably want to get something like the Apple Watch or something like the TicWatch S that has more smartwatch features, so you can actually answer phone calls, you can actually respond to text messages. This is not the watch for those things. This is more for the athlete that wants to be able to track those different activities that we mentioned earlier. Also, the waterproofing is fantastic. Just about everything for me makes this watch perfect, and I honestly think that this is my favorite smartwatch, and I don't really see myself wanting to switch anytime soon. Just like when I had the Amazfit Pace, I ended up using this watch off and on for about 10 months, but anytime I was done reviewing another watch, I always went back to this one, and I find myself probably doing the same thing with this watch as well. So Amazfit Stratos, definitely a big thumbs up. If you are interested in picking up, definitely check out the link below. Also, the giveaway is down below as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.